Hey everyone, Ben here, back on a GT3 challenge grid in iRacing, and this week we're at the Nurburgring in my Ford Mustang and we're about to get underway. I've qualified in P7 in this 1.7k split, and it goes without saying in the GT3 challenge it is uber competitive as the green lights go and we are underway. There's 13 splits, 247 drivers taking to the track in this slot. 19 of them are barreling into T1 here. I am right in the mix as we manage to get through cleanly. That's something of a miracle, but I've got Elroy Serrano now down my inside and I might be about to lose my second position of the race so far. I did also lose a spot down into T1 with a guy carrying much more speed around the outside. We're still side by side with Serrano there, but he's able to carry the move. And of course at this point of the race what I'm really just prioritising is survival. I don't want to be too aggressive in my defence. I've got to have a bit of confidence that over the course of a 20-minute race I'll be able to gain some of these spots back, and that opening section of track is treacherous at the best of times. But in this Ford Mustang, really, honestly, you can lose the car so easily on cold tyres and on cold brakes. So I'm just warming myself up into this race. I need to stay connected to the pack of cars ahead, and I'm pretty confident that the race is going to come back towards me as we come through the S's for the first time, following very closely behind Serrano, and then we got Walden and Clark further up the road as well, as we're again heavy braking into this left-hander third gear corner, and then we're just going to try and let the car roll through the next turn and then get on the gas as early as we can. We were able to do it, but there's going to be a little bit of a gap now heading up the hill towards the final chicane, and to be honest I'm pretty happy about that too, because this car's too wide going into the braking zone there. That could have easily been a big collision. A little bit of breathing space between myself and the pack up ahead is no bad thing, but look at this, we've got Serrano down the inside of Resende into the final corner. They're going to emerge side by side, and I sense an opportunity here. I've got to be really careful heading down into T1, but this is going to be a challenge of everybody's racecraft as the pack is still tightly close together, and you can see there Serrano is just going to get down the inside. I'm going to try and follow him through and get past Resende at the same time, nearly lose the rear end of the car. I've got to be very careful that I don't push too hard here. I'm stuck on the outside, still side by side with Resende, who's the number one car on this grid, still side by side as we get into the very difficult complex, still side by side on the exit, and again the car nearly looping there as the rear end became loose. We're still side by side for the fourth or fifth corner in a row. I'm going to try my luck around the outside here. I'll have the inside as we head down the hill. Can I hold the apex? Yes, I can, and eventually the move is done. That was epic. What fantastic action, as eventually we were able to squeeze our way past Resende. Brilliant racing. Maximum respect to him for not squeezing me out of room at any point here. That was really good, clean, respectful racing. You can see though he's not giving it up easy. He basically leaves a Mustang's width for me to occupy, but it's enough for me to be able to just then carry the momentum through the next corner, and I'm up into P8 as we rejoin the live action on lap 3. Of course, the downside to that action was I actually fell back a little bit from Serrano. He was able to make the move very quickly and efficiently into T1. I ended up scrapping for about a third of a lap, so I'm now over a second behind the driver up ahead, and I'm going to have to try and bring that gap in if I'm going to remain attached to that pack of cars up ahead and not just settle for P8 but try and get up into the top 5 if I can. So again, we're heading into the hairpin, heavy braking zone here. Got to try and get the car turned around. There's smoke, there's a car around. That Schroeder, wow, that was a big surprise. There was no yellow flag out. I had no warning from the spotter. Let's see what happened there then. Schroeder just coming through the corner, he loses the rear end, and then he lights up the rear tyres while there's cars coming towards him. I don't know if that was good judgment or just blind luck that he didn't clean out more drivers there. We'll hop on board with Walden, who was further up the track, and you can see just how close the two drivers there came to a big wipeout, but luckily everyone survived Schroeder rejoined, and we're rejoining the live action later on lap 3, and you can see Serrano and Walden going side by side up ahead. That is the opportunity I need to reconnect with both drivers. That gap that was a second has fallen, and Elroy Serrano has made his way up into P5. It's now Waldo Walden who's right up ahead of me as we start lap 4, and you can see Walden trying to get that position straight back. A pretty late defence from Serrano into T1. He's going to be wide on exit, but he will hold the position. Walden trying to cut back there through the next corner to close right up on the rear wing of Serrano before we get into the complex. He's not able to get alongside the Porsche driver, but this is going to be very, very tight here through the remainder of this lap, because there's now less than a second separating all three of us as we head into the middle sector of the lap. Ben Clark just a little bit further up the road. As you could see, Walden nearly losing the car. There was a big twitch of oversteer there as he's clearly pushing quite aggressively to get this position back as we barrel down the hill and get ready for the big braking zone of the hairpin. Remember, we've already seen Schroeder lose the car here, so this is not a straightforward corner when you're pushing for position. All three of us get through, but it's all about the quality of the exit as we head back up the hill and through the S's. Can we get cleanly through here? We're trying to push and not lift at all. You could see I got a little bit unsettled on the curb there, but we were able to keep our foot in as again we get down to third gear and just try and coax the car through these corners. The tyres now are coming up to temperature. I'm feeling a bit more comfortable behind the wheel to start pushing harder, but you can see up ahead Walden is going to be pushing Serrano all the way up the hill here. There's a bigger gap back to me, but Walden is on the attack here. Will it force Serrano into a defensive position? It doesn't. They go through nose to tail, but on the exit it is going to slow both drivers down. So again, we're going to close in as we head towards the start-finish straight. Look at how tight this is through the final corner. We are right tucked in to the slipstream here. This is going to be a three-way fight down into T1. Let's go for it. Let's see if we can't find some space on track and gain a position here. We're going to be on the outside. We get left space by Walden, who sees us coming. Can I get a better exit to the corner? Look at that. Serrano's gone wide and he chops back onto the track. That again could have been a big incident. I don't know if Walden had to lift there, but that was super close, as again we're heading into the complex of corners and all the positions are as they were heading onto the lap, but this is super intense in the cockpit. Really just trying to stay in touch with this battle and try and force my way through and up into the top 5 as again we're heading into the middle sector of the lap. There may be an opportunity heading down this hill and into the hairpin again. It's one of the bigger braking zones on the circuit outside of T1. We're not really going to be close enough to make a move. I've got to just keep an eye out for what's going on up ahead of me, because Walden is still definitely in touch with Serrano. It looks like we're all pretty evenly matched on pace here. It's going to come down to, does anybody make a mistake? As we climb the hill again up through the S's, we carry a lot of speed through there. It looked like Walden was slightly out of shape. Again down into third gear here, and he's losing the car. He's slid out. Oh my goodness me, and I just momentarily didn't know whether I was going to need to open up the steering and run wide. I had to get on the brakes, but I didn't want to follow him into the same mistake, so I was just being as gentle as I could on the inputs. We have gotten past, and that is a contender for most reckless rejoin I have seen in a long time. Look at this, on board from the drivers following behind. How on earth there wasn't a big shunt there, with Walden looking to get back on track just too quickly, driving straight into a pack of cars. Luckily, they all got away with it as we rejoined the live action then on lap 6, and I am now trying to stay in contact with Elroy Serrano. It's the first time really all race that I've had a proper stint of clear air up ahead to drive into, but I'm not really finding my pace, and I think I might have overheated the tyres. The front left tyre there on the dashboard is at 86. It would be great to get a sense of those of you who are more experienced in this class as to whether that is just too hot. But someone who's on a hot streak is Resende in the BMW there, coming through the pack. He is recovering. If you remember, We were involved in a big battle with him early on in the race. My pace just fell away through the second half of this one. Look at the pop-up camera. Resende closed right in the closing stages. This is the last corner of the last lap, and we're just going to hang on to P6. I couldn't really challenge Serrano up ahead. I was just able to hold off Resende, who came home around half a second behind me. So in the end, I think I've got to be pretty pleased with that result. The racing itself was exhilarating. It was an absolutely brilliant session. Really, really enjoyable. I think I'm beginning to find my pace in this Mustang. I'm really enjoying the GT3 racing more generally. And if you've enjoyed watching this video, I think you'll really enjoy the one that's up on screen now.